Sweet Grantor's Glove! Definitely gonna die this time!
What's up, everyone? I'm David, joined by Tom, and we're here to talk about what you can watch while you wait for Rick and Morty. We have a great show for you. We're here to talk about TBS's Final Space.
Ooh, Final Space.
Created by Olin Rogers.
Olin Rogers, yes.
It is a fantastic series that I know, Tom, that you actually told me to watch.
I did.
And I do trust you, Tom.
Yeah, I banged your door down in the middle of the night and I was like, put it on!
I saw this little guy in the office here. I wanted to know more
Yes.
about him. So Tom, tell us a little bit about the
yes.
overall story and what is Final Space?
So Final Space is an animated show that airs on TBS, created by Olin Rogers, who came up on YouTube if you've maybe seen some of his stories that he tells or some of his sketch comedy. But it centers on Gary Goodspeed, who is a prisoner, you find out very quickly, is actually serving out a prison sentence for some very silly thing that he did back on Earth.
Oh my double crap!
He's serving this sentence out in space, and one day, this adorable little guy, Mooncake, comes into the picture and really shakes things up for him. Kind of opens his eyes to this conspiracy, this sort of space conspiracy by somebody named the Lord Commander, this evil, very small in stature guy who is unlocking the secret to Final Space. And we're still, even at the end of season 1, not completely sure what exactly Final Space is, but it's all about this race to discover those secrets first, and it's just such an enjoyable show. A lot of my friends, and I'm sure you have the same thing, are like, oh man, what do I watch when Rick and Morty's not on?
Mm-hmm.
And this really scratches that sort of sci-fi comedy itch.
I think you say that well, because it's not a Rick and Morty copy or anything like that.
Certainly
It's not trying to be
no.
Rick and Morty. It's its own thing. But I think you said it correctly right there. Like, it's going to scratch that itch.
The way that I kind of think about it is that Rick and Morty is sort of the brains of the modern sci-fi animated show. Like, it is the best example of like a really intellectual show. Final Space is all about heart, and you fall in love with these characters, partially because they're so well acted.
I was going to say, so voice acting is huge in this show. There's some very, I mean, obviously, heavy hitters. I mean, let's talk about the Lord Commander. Going back to Lord Commander, David Tennant.
Don't kill me!
Wouldn't think of it. That would be rude. Eat.
David Tennant, Doctor
Who himself is in here.
voices the villain of this show, and really does not phone it in. Like this is, you could see sort of a name actor getting cast and just kind of showing up and recording his role and getting out of there. But he really is acting. He is performing this character who ends up having this really fascinating backstory and how it ties into some of the main characters. Without going into who, we're going to keep this spoiler free because we do suggest you watch it. That's why we're here. Some other actors that show up in the show, like you get Ron Perlman, Shannon Purser from Stranger Things, Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things, Conan O'Brien, Andy Richter shows up at one point. It's just this massive ensemble cast. And the other standout voice actor is, of course, Olin Rogers, who voices Gary, and a number of other characters, voices Mooncake, and Tribor, I think, is another one of the characters he voices. He has this real earnestness to him. Just really makes you root for this guy.
I will be there for you. We're a team now. And I'll let you be my sidekick and such with a super sad order of whatnot.
Even when he's doing like pretty stupid stuff, Gary Goodspeed is not the sharpest knife in the drawer, let's say.
No. I wouldn't put him in command of, if I had like a fleet of ships. I would not.
I
Put him in
don't
command.
think so. But he's very loyal, and he cares about his friends so much, and that's what makes you really want to root for him.
Before we go, I want to talk a little bit about the visuals as well.
Yeah.
The visuals are, again, scratch that Rick and Morty itch, but not Rick and Morty. It has its own look to it, but I think the visuals are great.
Yeah, I think they are too. It's this really nice blend of that sort of traditional 2D animation style, but they also work in these beautiful 3D glory shots, especially when they're light folding. That's their version of hyperspace. When they're light folding, amazing, just very trippy visuals. And certainly when they get into the later part of the season and they start going into some of the more Lovecraftian elements of the show. Let's leave it at that without going too much farther. It really is just jaw-droppingly beautiful sometimes, and it's just a really great show to watch, and on its own merits. We're sitting here talking about like, oh, if you need to scratch the Rick and Morty itch, watch this show, but it really stands on its own.
And the best reason to watch Final Space is that it got renewed for a second season.
Yes.
It's coming back. But that's not all we have in the animated world here on IGN. We also have a great conversation Tom and I do on Disenchantment. Does it capture that Simpsons magic? And we also have our top adult animated series of all time. So be sure to check that out. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe to IGN everywhere you like to watch.